here. You can use as much as you want in the evening. That's probably why. So this is really late, so late.
4, 6, 8, 10. We're probably oh no, we've got new people here too. This guy too. Sorry if we misled you, but we didn't have Elizabeth's information up early on the meetup. Welcome to the SL Circle, open circle, which we're going to be access because this space is now under the management of SL Circle, and we're going to be hopefully having between 2 to 3 lunches, excuse me, on a weekly basis. In the near future, we've restaurants in downtown will actually be providing food. We'll just make a short notice too. The holodeck has been in existence for a couple of years under management of John and Mike, and the SL Circle group, a group called Salt Lake Steam, as well as Accelerant, which is my company, taking up management of the space. We're going to be introducing the new pricing first, what we have going on. And if there are any of you that are freelancers, any of you that may have professions, you'd like to be able to turn into like a co-op environment, we're going to have fairly aggressive rates, and we're going to make this so this is something where it is reciprocal for everybody that participates. So we do too. If you ever need to entertain or have a meeting space, we have welcome you down.
Good to know.
So with without more to do, she's presented for us before. I've heard her story. I don't know that any of you have. It's a pretty amazing story of literally rags to riches. She's a compelling speaker. We're happy to have her. Let's hear your story, and then we'll kind of have a Q&A with the audience. Any questions they have, we'll go from there. Elizabeth Cordero.
Hello. So I'm going to use the microphone because I think it'll be a little bit better. Thank you for coming today. I'm going to share with you my story. I'm going to go a little bit into detail as to why my story is important. A bit of inspiration for some people. And then I'm going to go into detail about the deals that I've done in real estate, how I got them, and so I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about me. Okay, this is a little bit of my credentials. I own and found Elizabeth Cleaning Business. I've been in business for about 12 years. Very young when I started doing my business, I had over 100 residential clients, 50 large commercial accounts, and a small office building accounts as well. I'm also a licensed real estate agent, creator of LLC, which I hold multiple rental portfolio, and that's what I'm going to go into detail as to how I make money, and just with property. I own over $1 million in real estate today. Mostly are rental properties. Some of these properties used to be paid off. In real estate investing, they're not longer paid off. I'm using the money and investing it over and over again, and put the money to work. I've also done hard money lending. I've done about 8 loans and a total of $500,000 with properties. I'm also doing flips now, so that's something new for me, but it's been a good experience. A lot of the people said, "Oh, flipping is so hard, flipping this and that." And I used to own rental properties, and I had to fix them up. And I thought, how difficult can it be? Well, I got lucky. I feel like I'm a very lucky person because somehow it works out. And some of these things I did without knowing. Like a lot of my real estate stuff, I had no clue. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted to invest and work, so that was good. I'm going to tell you how I got to the States, and this is why I think people get a little bit surprised when they know what I've done. My mom came to the States when I was 12 years old. In Mexico, we were extremely poor. We were poor. I had to dig food out of the trash. That's how poor we were. My uncle went to Mexico and told my mother that there was a lot of money in the United States. And so my mom said, in 6 months I'm gonna buy a house because we never had a house. And maybe that's why I like houses so much. I think we always lived in tiny rooms. And so my mom asked my uncle if she could help him, she could help her bring her to the States. And he said, sure, I'll help you. And so my mom sells the little things we have. In Mexico, you don't have like furniture, you maybe have a plastic chair in your living room, you know. If you're lucky, there's like one rich person in the street whose families or brothers, sisters are in the States and send money, they buy a TV and everybody goes, gathers, watches TV there. So it's not like we own a lot of stuff. So she saved enough money to buy a train ticket. And she gets to the border, she calls my uncle and says, I'm ready to go to the States. And he says, I'm not gonna help you. I don't have money to move forward or go backwards because that's all she had, the ticket for the train. My mom is very persistent. So she's mad, right? She's sad, but at the same time she's mad. What am I gonna do now? You told me you're gonna help me. Whatever you wanna do, I'm not gonna help you. Hotels in Tijuana, I know, someplace in the border, I don't know where. And so she starts knocking at the hotels, and somebody says, yeah, you can stay. She was looking for a place to eat and sleep. She wasn't getting paid. So she says she works at the hotel, and she asked the lady, can you tell me when the smuggler comes? And ask him if he takes me to the States, right? And the lady said, yeah, sure. They come every day, and you know, they bring a bunch of us. They don't bring one, they bring like 20 of us. And that's every day. He shows up and my mom says, can you take me to the States? I'm here. He tells us the story, like my cousin's gonna take me, and you know, he said no. And the guy laughs. He's like, lady, I heard all kinds of stories. This is a business for me. You know, I'm not gonna take you. She has no money. So she stays at the hotel, she cleans rooms, and then one day, every time the guy would come to the people, she'll be like, oh, can you please take me? Can you please take me? And the guy's, no. One day, the guy's done. He's had it. My mom's asked for it like multiple times. And so he's like, you know what? I've never done anything good in my life. I'm gonna take it. He takes her, and she's like, see, at this time, at this place. My mom doesn't have money. He's like, you gotta have tennis shoes, because my mom had sandals. The manager at the hotel lends my mom 20 pesos. Any shoes she can afford. Well, she's on her way to the States. Meanwhile, we're in Mexico, living on our own. I'm 12 years old, my sister's 17. Money because my mom's obviously trying to cross the border. And then she makes it, they have a hard time, and you know, when she's on the other side, they put you in a house and they don't let you go out until somebody from here sends for you. So you pay half in Mexico and pay the other half when you're here. Well, my mom didn't have that, but anyway, she is able to go, and she gets to California, she meets some people there, and this is a beautiful story. It's kind of a long story, so I'm just gonna like give you the short story. She meets people there in California that moved to Utah and said, hey, you gotta come to Utah because there isn't a lot of immigration over there, you know? Okay, and there's more work, so she flies to Utah, they lend her money to come here. It's here in Utah, and that's where she brings us here. So then about a year or two later, she sends for us, and I do the same thing, you know, I get into I think I took a bus to come all the way I'm from Veracruz, which is south of Mexico, my sister. And we're walking, and I'm a little girl, like, I don't know, I know like something's going on, but I don't get the gravity of the situation. And at some point, the smuggler says, you know, this is where you run. This is where you run for your life. And I'm looking at him like, what is he talking about? So my sister, who's 17, she gets it. It's like, we're in trouble. We're like, our life's in danger. And she starts crying, and she said, we're gonna die. She looks at me, she says, we're gonna die. Sister, and I'm like so confident, and I said, why are you so worried? If that was true, if whatever the guy says is true, my mom would have never sent us here. But we were actually crossing. There's a point where you're crossing the desert where they have the gangsters and they're waiting kind of for the immigrants, and that's the point where they steal from you, they rob from you, kinds of things can happen. That's how I actually got to the other side. I ran through the freeway, and then I walked into the store, and this lady saw us. Of course, we walked the desert, so we're not like clean or anything. And we get to that house where they're supposed to come pick us up, and they sent for us. So that's how I came to the States. As soon as I came here, I lived with other 21 immigrants in a tiny house, a one-bathroom house with 20 other male immigrants, okay? And so I used to sleep in the living room. I still remember the house. It's actually by Church Memorial Catholic School. So I used to just have my clothes in a bag, in a black plastic bag, those large bags. And I just take my stuff before I went to school, and I got dressed and I put it away. It was left like in the corner. We kind of have like a kind of little area. As my sister came. I was lucky enough to be able to go to school. I went to high school. So I didn't speak any English. I didn't know anything. I don't know what I said about the deportation. I did get stopped almost getting here by the immigrants, and they said, you gotta go back to Mexico. And we were so young, he's probably thinking we're just chilling over there or something. And so we pretended we were walking back, but my intentions to go back to Mexico ever since. This reminds me of me, because this is literally where I actually cross a freeway like this. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I started my cleaning business. In 2004, from other immigrants who had no, weren't very familiar with the system. They were always afraid. Told that every time, anything I did, I would get deported. So I lived in this fear of deportation. That's probably what I said over there. So 2004, before then, I did some cleaning. I didn't have a social. I couldn't continue school because I just couldn't. And then I got a job. The guy didn't pay me, so I quit. And then I'm like, what do I do? Well, before I clean houses, and for 2 hours, they're paying me like $50, and it just made sense. I'm working $6 an hour. And I have to work 10 hours to make 60, and not even 60, because after taxes were making like 48. And then I said, hello, 2 hours for 50? That's okay, And I'm like, I'm full of fear, because I know this lady can send me to Mexico. And so I go there, and I get my, I give the lady my ID, and I said, hey, I'd like to get a cleaning business license. And the lady looks at me and says, fill out this form, and I'm like, here on this form. And so the lady takes back the application, and she's probably just gonna put in the system whatever, and I'm like, this is it. This is where I'm getting deported. She's calling the police right now. They're gonna come get me. And she comes back. She gives me the license. She says, okay, you're gonna get the license. Like literally, it was 10 minutes. I get the license in the mail. So I leave the place, and it's like, this is not looking good. They're gonna come to my house. I didn't sleep for them today. They're gonna come and get me there. It's like, this is not. Anyway, I didn't get the license. They never came for me because she was just. I started asking. I had a very few clients, and so I started asking my clients for referrals. They were out of town, so they couldn't help me match. So my sister, she didn't have a job, so she can't help me. Sometimes I wouldn't get paid because I had to pay my sister, right? That was my first employee, and she had children, so and I would go with my bucket and my mop. Now I had a business license. It was very important, And so I felt very safe. Oh, I have a business license. And so I'll show up. I'm very small. People can trust me pretty easy. And I will go knock on the doors. I remember North Salt Lake, those nice houses. I would go and knock, and would you like? I clean houses. Would you like to have your house cleaned? I remember I still have this client. Her name is Peggy Johnson. First client. She's still my client today, like 12 years later. And I remember her husband saying, well, go talk to the lady in the house. And I go, and she's like, you look okay. You you look like I can trust you. I'm gonna pay you $60 to clean my house, but if I don't like it, I'm gonna fire you. She still hasn't fired me. And you know, I've been with her family for so long, you get to see a lot of things and stuff. Well, that was one of the things that I remember the most. But another thing is that I will take a calendar, my door knocking, I will write names of people in my town. I had no clients, okay? So when I went to a house and they said, well, yeah, I like your bed. When can you come? And for some reason, most people like Fridays. I think because the weekend, she's my client too. And so for some reason, people like Fridays. Names, and I'll say, you know, I'm all booked, and I'll show them the schedule. Make sure they see you're fully booked. And I don't have a day available, but you know what? Let me see what I can do for you. The house, 5 minutes later, I'm calling them, right? And this is my only client. I want her to run the schedule. And I said, you know, my other clients, it's okay. They'll move. I'll give you that day. So I wanted to make people feel good. And so that's when I did that. About 2007, my business starts booming. Everybody starts referring me. My mom comes and joins us too. That's when I actually learned how to clean, because before we weren't doing such a good job. You know, we did what we knew, but that's when my mom teaches us, like, this is really how you do it. It starts booming. My sister's already helping me. My mom's already helping me. We're out of help. At one point, my business 98% referral, word of mouth referral. No need to do marketing, anything. It was just like a lucky thing. I don't know. It was just, my way. These are some of my clients right now. Cordero, actually, they just told me today I have an appointment with them later. For Costa, they Park City is a water company. They still. Okay, because my business was so successful, living the $6 an hour lifestyle, you know, I was making more money, but I was still buying my clothes at a yard sale for 25 cents, and it was good. So this is what started kind of happening to me in my life eventually at this first house. But then I moved into a mobile home because I had a little bit of problems with for my first home, and that was more like a personal story. But then in 2007, I buy this manufactured home for $17,000. Years, let my sister live there for free. Well, she didn't pay me anything, she paid the parking. It sold it for $28,000. And you know what? Actually, I had given it to it, and he couldn't sell it. And I just thought, why, you know? And they wanted me to sell it finance, and I didn't know what that was. I don't want to do that. I just want to be out of it. And I think that's my very first like real estate sale. Well, not real estate, but that's my very first time I did. And so I sold for 28. I started paying my mom. My mom was with a lot of like debt. She didn't know anything about finances, you know. We never had money, never. So she got into all this debt, and so I was lucky enough. I was able to get. One of my dreams was actually to go to school. I always wanted to get an education, but because I didn't have a social security number, I couldn't. Actually, I still couldn't go to school, but then they passed this law that if you study here, school here, you could go to school and pay as a resident. Because otherwise I could go, but I had to pay out-of-state tuition. It was pretty expensive. It's like 3 times more. I didn't want to do that. I was always financially smart. About my West Valley house, and I'm going to go a little bit into detail with these properties because it's, you know, it goes into financial, like how it started growing from one to another. My clients in the house cleaning, they had money because, you know, most of them have money luxury things, to have their house cleaned. Not everybody can afford that. I had these clients, they were convinced, and every summer they will redecorate their entire house. So like truckloads of stuff will come to my house. And I used to pay a guy, and he took all the stuff and we donated it in Mexico. Very poor, well, he went, I couldn't go. He went to poor areas and, you know, donated to the people over there. And then they, you know, as poor as people were, they would still send me little presents, little things like as a thank you, with anything. I mean, they were still very grateful. That to me was like, I really, really enjoy doing. We stopped because it was very dangerous to drive a lot of stuff over there. You know, you get, so I didn't want to put people at risk. 2010, I'm still doing really good. I have a goal in my mind. I paid off my West Valley house. I get a HELOC on the home, and then I bought a Taylorsville home cash in 2010. Cash, it's a West Temple house. Then I partnered with someone. This deal didn't go very well, but I still was. That was when I was brave and wanted to invest. House in Orem, I bought another house in Kearns, then I bought another one. I think Mingos is in West Jordan. 2016, this year, I bought a, she's sold to me over there. And then this year, I'm doing my very first flip. It's a 6-bedroom house in West Jordan. This is the mobile home. I told you the story. In the mobile home, when I live in the mobile home, it was like about $400. I don't remember the numbers very well. But I rented all the bedrooms. I turned my living room, kind of, it had like a kind of a space. I made it into a bedroom, and then all of a sudden I had 3 extra bedrooms. And so I lived for free. And then when my cleaning employees needed money, I will lend them money too. And I will charge them a lot of money for my money. Like I'll say, well, I'll lend you $300 if you pay me like $100 this week. So they pay me on my own deal, sweet deal. So I was making money as a lender without knowing. And then it was safe money because if they didn't pay me, I'll just take their paycheck. So it was okay. So let me tell you, this is the West Valley house. I love telling the story of this house because this is another cool story. So I don't have a social still. It's 2010. I'm still working. I'm cleaning. People think I'm a citizen because I have a cleaning license, okay, for some reason. But I don't have a social. I wanted to own a house. That was my biggest dream. I wanted to own my own house. And so I went to about 10 different banks in Salt Lake City. Credit unions, Cypress Credit Union, all the banks I could think of. They didn't know I didn't have a social, and they give me loans. So I would hear all these folders that they wanted. They said, yeah, bring me your laptop, just whatever they wanted, and run and give it to them. No, we can't. You don't have a social. There was a time where they did give loans with IT, but that wasn't the time I was buying. I gave up. I said, I'm not going to buy anymore. I can't. And so the day I said I'm giving up, I have a friend who calls me and says, hey, there's this bank, and they're giving loans with an IT number. An IT number is a number you get to report your taxes. Where? And she's like, it's Highland Credit Union. My brother a loan for his business. And I'm like, I gotta go. Next day, 9 in the morning, I'm at Highland Credit Union. And he's like, talk to Chris. And by that time, I'm done. I've already talked to 10 other banks. And I spoke to Chris and I said, Chris, which I still do business with Chris until today. I said, Chris, I don't have a social. And this is how like upfront I was with him. I'm self-employed. I've never had a house. I don't have credit. I don't have anything. But I want to buy a house. And Chris looks at me and says, you know, we do give loans, but we only give loans if you have 20% down. And I say, that's my problem. I got $60,000 in my pocket right now. And so he actually gave me my first loan. I got it with a 19 number. That's what pushed me to getting more real estate because of the opportunity I had. Otherwise, I would have given up. I don't know what I would have done, but because of Chris, and I'm always grateful for him because he believed in me. He was taking a big risk, and I'm looking for a house. And my agent was one of my clients who I cleaned his house. I did not want my client to know I didn't have a social. Like all this time, I'm afraid. I don't know the process of buying a house. I don't know what's going to happen. Once more, when we're at the closing table, the title lady comes and says, the escrow officer, she comes and says, well, I need your ID. We're just going to record the house. I need your ID. I have no ID, right? I only have my Mexican passport. And I said, oh, here it is. And I was so afraid. You can tell like the signature in my house. They're like, because I'm like checking, she's going to record me, something's going to happen. And so she's like, give me your ID. And so I give it to her. And she says, this is not good. I need your green card and I need your social security number. I did not know that that was not necessary. That's it. I'm like, it's done. I can't. And so I start crying. Like I gave the pledge. I start crying. It's not going to happen. I don't have it. And so I said, Chris, more. I'm afraid I'm going to be deported. And so he said, why? And I said, well, the lady wants me to bring a green card and a social, and I don't have any of those things. It's taking me, I've been here for whatever years, maybe like 10, I don't know how many, and I don't have it. And it's not like I go get it at a place. It takes forever. Hold on a minute. Well, this problem. And she's like, no, we need a good ID. And she said, let me talk to your manager. He talks to the manager. She said, you know what? I'm the bank. I'm taking the risk with the loan. Property. So whether you take my client's passport or we're not doing business anymore. My banker said that. And so the lady said, send her back. My passport. And I'm still afraid, like I don't know what's going to happen, but she said, go back now. And I go back. And I show her my passport, and the lady said, oh, okay, thank you. And she takes it, she makes it, oh, this is perfect, no problem. And so that's when I bought my first house. I was in a lot of fear. It was not good. The entire time I cleaned his house, showing me house, I was like worried. He's gonna know I don't have it, he's gonna tell others when I do business. So I bought the property for 119. The previous owner went into foreclosure. This is 2009, producing homes, and they owed 170. Put 60,000 down. I can sell the property today for about 200,000. I produced for 2.9. They raised 1%, so today's 3.9%. I think it's for about 130,000. The house was worth certain value. Right now, I can still raise it if I want to. 1950 right now. So I'm not only increased the value of my property, but I'm also cash flowing, like 1950 out of it. I'm gonna turn it into a duplex and non-conforming duplex. And so that's the thing. And then I bought this West Temple house. I bought it for 107. It says you need to waive the inspection if you want to get the house where it has 12 offers. Have a bad foundation. So I waived the inspection because I thought I'm gonna get it, and I didn't know. I'm relying on a friend. He's also my client. He's a different person, and so I realized that I know my client. I cleaned his house for 5 years. I can trust him. He is the one with the knowledge. I'm not. I'm a cleaning person, and so I listened to him. So the house had a bad foundation, but it ended up costing me a little bit more money, 50, and then I sold it because I didn't like that. I should have kept it. Now that I know more, it wasn't that expensive, but I thought it was going to take a lot of money to fix it. Sold it for $122,778.63 to my own client. So my own buyer bought it. I didn't have to pay me realtor fees. Another house. This is a house in Horn. It's not one of my best deals. It's the only good thing about the house is the seller finance for the life of the loan at 3.75%. $1,000 because I partnered with someone. That got a cash flow only $165. So it's not very good. And I bought it for 169, can sell for 195, increase the equity of the house. Eventually I bought my partner out just because I realized that partnerships are not a thing for me. This is another house I'm excited to tell you about. This is Townsend Home. It's in Kearns. Okay, this house, the investor came to me and said, hey, Elizabeth, I have this house. You want to buy it? And I said, sure. Tell me about it. Just need the house. I bought it with $35,000 down, but I figured they had already paid 10 years into the mortgage. If you add up all the interest that that it comes with it, I was already like pretty good. So I bought this house. I only have a 20-year remaining mortgage into it. Probably now, like maybe only less than that, because I own the property. But the good thing about it is, with the house, they were paying $1,200 in mortgage, and the second, because they're going to foreclosure, the second note, the second lender, so you don't need to pay us anymore. So the mortgage went from $1,200 to $890, and I'm renting it at $1,450, so I'm cash flowing $560. He works in construction. He builds homes for living, and I said that I was renting the house for $1,550, and I said, well, that's what you do for a living. How about I deduct the rent for $1,450, but you fix up the house? So all I need to do is, we're literally upgrading the entire, not all of it, just whatever makes sense, like plumbing, stuff like that, electrical. But I don't pay anything, so I just buy the materials, which is in another way of saving money. We're home. This is the one I bought for only $80,000 in 2010 when the market. I let my family live there for 6 years. I sold it to them. $126,000, 584 cents. So, well, I'm getting to my last deal. I'm running out of deals. That she sold me over there. I think the purchase price was $347,000 first. The wholesaler negotiated the house, and I think we closed at $310,000. I gave about $20,000 down, but the good thing about this house, the house is 5,000 square feet home. Everybody comes to my house, I think I'm rich, I'm not. I just got it at a good price. The seller finances only, the mortgage is $900 a month. We have 0 interest for 4 years. At the end of the financing, I was thinking, well, at the end of the financing, I've already paid them $43,200, which leaves my mortgage due at $240,000. But guess what? I'm cash flowing at $1,100 already, and I still have room to cash flow $1,200 more because the house is so big and the rooms are so, I'm renting them by room, so making money while paying the house, while raising the equity. This is a perfect deal because it's 0 interest. You're like, and I'm not paying any more. I learned that money's better in my hands, so I don't want to ever pay 1 more cent. In fact, I just save. Like all my houses, all the cash flow I'm saving. What happens because I want to see in the future, right? What if the market corrects? People start losing their jobs. Everything goes bad. The cash flow is in an account. It's being saved. So when I need something, if something happens, well, the house will pay by itself. Same thing. I have an account for each house. The cash flow goes and saves, but this cash flow is kind of going fast. I like that. And so that's. Then I decided to get into flipping. Investors, all males, all flippers, all wholesalers, and I'm like, I'm a woman. I can do this, And so. Told me one of the other houses, he says, well, I have this flip in West Shore, I have this house in West Shore, you want to buy it? So that other houses, and I'm like, oh, sure, I'm going to buy it. So I purchased the house for $178,000. I'm hoping to sell it for $250,000, but I did my numbers at $240,000 just to be safe. It's about $25,000 if I pay myself because it's really less. All of these numbers are like, I don't want to ever do it for a certain amount and lose money. I wanted to, as if I'm losing money and then have more. The renovation cost, my contractor only charged me $12,000 to renovate a 6-bedroom, 3,000 square feet home. Everything. He knows how to build the house from foundation all the way up. But he wanted to work with me, and he said, I want to give you a good deal. He regrets now because there's a lot of work. It's more work than $12,000. My expenses up to today with buying materials only $6,000, so we're only 18. The previous investors thought it will cost $40,000. I guess where I'm different is because I'm able to connect with the Hispanic community and go with these people and be able to say, hey, negotiate with them. And I said to my contractor, I don't want to negotiate your price, but how about you help me with the cost of the material? And he has. He has material in his house that he's selling to me, leftover material. So he's selling at a discounted price. So he likes that I'm not negotiating his price, but I asked him for something else. So that's the expenses 60. I didn't find photos of the flip because I was actually doing my presentation a few minutes later. And so we had a lot. I'm really good at like bringing walls down. I like that. And so I just opened all these places. I wish I had better photos, but my bountiful house, I guess some investor came to me and said, "Why are you buying a house? It's like $60,000 renovation." And I said, "Where? Where are the $60,000? The house is actually very outdated, but you know what? Everything works." And I keep amazing myself. Like, I just found out my house has a sauna. Like, how nice is that? The bathroom turns into this sauna and stuff. And I'm like, it's just outdated, but guess what? It will still work when I upgrade the house. And I'm not going to do that now because I'm out of my pocket. But I had a guy that came and demoed the entire basement for $60. In my context, and so with $350, I got another guy that was charging me $90 a day to do whatever I wanted. So hey, let's bring this wall up. Rid of a bunch of walls down in the basement and upstairs. The living room open space is so beautiful right now. I still have to renovate the floors. I happen to have a friend who just came back from Peru into the carpet business right now. So I said, hey, why don't you give me a deal and I give you referrals? And so he's gonna come and give me all the carpet throughout the house. We're talking almost 4,000 square feet, and he's gonna give me a good deal on this house too. So I'm excited for that. A little bit of photos of the flip. I decided that I want to go up as a realtor. I can see what people like, right? They like beautiful kitchens. They like open spaces. So the house was very dated, had walls everywhere. So I'm kind of like, I really, really like bringing walls down just because it opens the space, makes houses feel bigger, and people like that too. It's pretty much what they house looking. I told my contractor this morning, like when I was here, I said, send me some photos of the house so I can put in the presentation. Maybe somebody wants to buy it. And he sends me a photo of the ceiling. That's why you're my contractor. You're no photographer for sure. But anyways, and see what the house kind of looks like. The bedrooms is really looking really nice. I really wish I had photos of it before, but I don't. I've done a little bit of hard money lending. I like to do hard money lending because it pays you 12% and 2 points of origination. So as soon as you give somebody your money, you're making 2% of your money just by the fact you're giving them your money. Pay you in 6 months, you can charge as much interest as you want. So 29, 32%, whatever number you feel that they charge. And so this is kind of a little sample of the hard money loans and stuff. I usually work with a guy, a flipper who's very well experienced because I feel that I have very minimal risk if they know what they're doing. They know their numbers, they have a team in place. So I've been very lucky. This is also another story of how lucky I am. Going into the meetings, the investor meetings, and I was just getting to know people. I didn't know anybody, right? So I'm getting to know them, and I'm starting to pay attention. And I would ask the investors that were there, I said, who do you think you will trust the most here? And they'll be like, oh, this guy over there. And everybody directed me to that guy. Good reputation. I got to work with him. And so I called him up one day and I said, hey, I have some money. I would like to lend it to you. And he said he gets money from everywhere and everyone. He doesn't need my money because he's so established that everybody wants to lend money to him. And I said, will you give me the opportunity to work with you? And he said, okay, I will. And he actually paid me more than what he pays other people. The money, more discounted price. And I said, but I don't know how to do hard money lending. I have the money, but I don't know what to do. He actually taught me how to do hard money lending. He said, well, he was teaching me the process. You gotta go do this and this, you know that I'm gonna see your property, you gotta count the property, you gotta make sure there's enough spread, the value, and I'm like, oh, okay. So then I'm like, right? I'm like, I don't know how to count property, and I'm a realtor, well, I know now, but I didn't then. And I said, I don't know how to count property, what can I do? And so I made friends with this girl that did pumping for a living. And I said, I like you. You and I are gonna get along just fine. And so I said, you know, how much will you charge me to pump property? And if I close the deal, you know, because in real estate it's very common, you're pumping, you're doing your work, and you don't get paid if the deal doesn't close. So we only pay if the deal gets, you know, if we close the deal. And so she pumped the property for me. I kind of got an idea, and that gave me understanding of what I needed for my own houses, for my own flip, and investors are all about ROI and numbers, and I'm like, I haven't been able to pass math, okay? So, but it's because I hang out with the right people that I was actually able to do it. And you know how they said, when you're around people that do, you want to do more, and that's what's important for you, like, you know, with people that are doing much more than you are. So that's how I ended up doing hard money lending. I lent about $500,000 to that guy and another guy. I think I've only worked with 2 different people. I haven't worked with more than that. And it's great. When I get the money, I just go on vacation. You know, because it's free money, really. You just like pump a property. It takes you 20 minutes. That's really it. And then the money comes, so you get 1,000, 2,000. You know, okay. And so it's been a good experience. So as an agent, able to, my friend called me and said, hey, you have a clean business, right? And I said, yeah, sure, I do. And he's like, well, I want to sell my house, but I don't want to clean it. And I'm like, oh, I will clean it for you and I'll sell it too. And so that was the deal. That's how I got this house. And that's why I said, because I cleaned his house, he really didn't want to deal with it. And you know what? He was a very clean person. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, we had to. No, we just cleaned it in one day. It was ready to sell. I sold it before I put it on the market. I made a few phone calls and I said, hey, I had this house coming. I had this packet listed. And bought it right away. I was actually in surgery, so probably didn't change the status, but the house sold even before it went on the market because it was a beautiful house. And so as an agent, I help families buy. I do help a lot of the Hispanic community. I feel that sometimes they're not represented as well. I feel that they're not educated as much. So I always take the time to teach them about, you know, are you making a good investment? And you know, it's funny because I'm selling this, showing this buyer this house, and I'm thinking flipping, right? I said he wanted a second kitchen. He wanted to rent the house, but he did not qualify for enough money to buy a house with a kitchen. Properties, ramblers, and I said, well, how about you close this wall and we put a kitchen? So we're like having all these ideas, and then all of a sudden he's like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't like that. No, I think I wanted to do it. And so I said, you know, it's not that expensive. I got good contacts, and I can share with you. We walk into a property, he loves the house, but there's no way to do a kitchen. And then he starts telling me, what if we take this wall down and we put the kitchen right here? And I just look at him like, you're learning, huh? And he just laughed. And so we ended up buying like that house because he had the vision. He could see, so at a point, you know, it's passing on what you know and what comes so easy to you to others that don't see it. And with the Hispanic, my clients, it's been such a great experience to see how much they fight for, how much they want it, because my deals haven't been easy, and so we have things happen all the time, and I think any real estate is really not easy as we think it is. And that's what I really, really like about it. Like I have single moms that are determined to own their home, and I love helping them. You know, it reminds me of my mother. She had 4 children, didn't give up ever, and so I always like to, you know, to help people in that sense where I really don't care how much I make. One person, I don't need a lot of money. I can sleep in a car, I can sleep anywhere, you know. But it's the pleasure of helping others and see them and how happy they are when they walk into their new home and their children. Mom, is this going to be our new house? And it reminds me of me when I was a little girl. You know, we did not have a house. In fact, when we went to live at somebody's house, our house was always full of rules where they said, you cannot touch this because this is not a home here, but you got in order for you to live in this house, this is all the things you have to do, and you never feel like a home. And that's probably why it's one of my passions with real estate, like owning homes. I'm actually right now have money out, hard money lending. I have my money on a flip, which is not very smart. One of my mentors, he said, to never use your money for real estate. And at first I didn't believe that because I pay everything off. And then as I learned more and more, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Don't use your money. I played because I wanted to take time to learn, but I happened to be so lucky of picking the right contractor, the right friend, the right person. I played completely. I'm actually out of town. You know what I did? I said, here's my card, buy whatever you need. They email me the receipt. I looked it over. I make sure he's buying what he's needing and he's not buying, for another house, but I trust him too. And so I was actually out of town for a week, and I wasn't worried about my house at all. And you know what? Today, he sent me photos. It's looking good. And I may walk the property later, just moving forward. I think when you start flipping, I think that one of the things I saw when I was around a guy that was flipping houses is that he had a hard time with finding good contractors. He had a hard time. It was work lining up one contractor after another, and then they don't show up. Well, that's the job my guy's doing. He doesn't know it. And I don't tell him that either. I'm like, oh, Dr. Roy, thank you so much. You're so great. Let's go have a beer. So, he's really great, actually. If you guys need somebody to fix, he fixes every single thing. He is not expensive. And so, and I said, I'm going to give you work, but you better never not give, come do my work. And he said, okay. So, story, that's how I'm at today. That's been my journey, and well, as a flipper, I want to get a good deal. I want to, be able to buy a house at these kind of prices. It's better if I buy it myself, but we use wholesalers. We use people that actually do that for a living. But it will be nice to buy it myself. We help people serve their homes or their credit now through seller financing. I'm actually waiting for the market to correct. I guess like every other investor. I have some money saved up. I want to buy probably at least 10 more properties when that time comes. And if I can, a little bit more, but I'm kind of a little bit of I'm a risk taker, but at the same time, I'm not. I like to have some money just because it makes me feel good. Anything I do it thinking that it's going to work. It work, because sometimes things get difficult, but I feel that I'm very skilled at finding good tenants. And so I think that's what makes me very, I would say, successful in the rental business, because everybody complains, my tenants are this, but I think it's all about expectation. Checking people, asking their job, like everybody has a different perspective of everyone. So if I call somebody and they, if I call their job and they say they're really great, most likely their other landlord are going to say they're good people, because we tend to be creatures of habits, right? If we're good people, we tend to always be, of course, there's those moments, right? But we tend to be good at all times. And so, before they do, they're getting fired, and things like that. I have people that falsify documents and stuff, but it's more about doing the work before and setting the expectations. And it's just like, I learned that it's like business. When I had my cleaning business and I hired somebody new, that's where you tell them everything you want to tell them, because then you go back and say, do you remember when I told you this would come up or this will happen and you said you would do it? That's really it is. I like to be very honest. I like to be very upfront. In fact, I tell people more bad than I tell them good when they come work for me. It's really hard. I say, when they call me on the phone, I interview them on the phone, and they, oh, well, I want to work for you. I gotta do more work against the background check. But before I do any of that, I tell them, the work is really hard. You're gonna do in their mind, I paint this really hard picture, because if they still want to go for that, when they really see what it's like, it's hard, but it's not like the end of the world, That's pretty much what I do too with my tenants. I tell them everything up front. You cannot do this, you can do that. But of course, people start getting comfortable with you over the years, and they, now they wanna they don't start treating the house well, and it's hard, but you kind of have to let them go. I had a tenant that was with me since 2009, and now I'm kind of like, yeah, they're not respecting. I try not to be friends with them. I always nice with everyone, but I try not to make friends with them because then they start, oh, I want to be late friend and things like that. But what I've done, I still do a little bit of the cleaning business, not as much as I used to. I only take commercial contracts. I no longer take any residential unless it's for a house that I'm listing. Then I'll send the girls over. But I only kept a little bit of the side of the residential. I still take commercial contracts. I actually, in fact, I got a call before I got here. I wanted to clean his house and business, but I didn't do business anymore as much. Cleaning business was very lucrative for me, extremely. Like, you can become a millionaire quickly. This. I think if I went back today, I would have had somebody mentoring me and saying, hey, this is how you run it to be more efficient. Because I wanted to do it all as a small business owner. I didn't know. I meant to have a job. I meant to be self-employed. Wanted to do it all myself. I was doing the accounting. I was answering the phones. I was meeting with the clients. I was doing the paycheck. I was hiring the people. I was training the people. And I was going to school full time. And I was like working in the business, cleaning the houses. I was doing really everything. And so if I had done it a little bit different, I think I would have made way more money. And today I would probably be like somewhere in the Bahamas, somewhere. But I still did okay. Time and really not knowing anything about business, I think I did well. And so, but this is really my story. I hope that this was helpful to you, and if you have any questions, I'm here for them.
What are the next 5 or 6 dynasties you're going to start on? I mean, you obviously haven't stopped, but what do you have in mind next? And also for anyone that's here, if you wouldn't mind, .com/OC registration for what we're doing for the events. But what do you see in your future?
Well, my future, I am actually planning to move to California. I like the weather there, but I want to assist in here so late, where I still have my properties here, and I still have my flips here, and I still manage here. I learned how to do it from out of state. I want to own commercial property, but I'm waiting for the market to correct. I'm waiting for the market to correct so I can buy more. And you can always buy good. You can always buy at a good price at the right if you buy. So it's not like I'm just waiting for the market to correct to own property. I'm still buying more property, but now I want to get smarter at buying my property. Whereas before maybe I could $35,000. Today, I want to be able to find a property maybe with no money. Now my clients start to come to me and say, I cannot afford this house. What can I do over the house? Maybe I can. And it takes for me to do real estate more to be able to do that. Although I'm not very in love with the retail real estate. I really like the investing, but the retail is something that I'm not very good to say. I don't see a lot of return on it. Return on the investment in time. You spend all this time showing house, all this, so and you pay for this and you pay for that, and so, or maybe just go to a higher market. But it's not my forte. It's not something that I enjoy. I really enjoy rentals, and I really enjoy the flipping. Perfect. At a bigger scale, but right now with the flipping, I'm just starting out. So.
So I have a question. If you want to move to California, you've been able to be very successful with your connections here. So how do you move to California and create those connections?
I was actually in California about a week ago, and just for that week I was there, I was able to meet with this group of business owners. One of them owns insurance companies, real estate people. And I think networking has never been a problem. Anywhere I go, I'll be able to meet people. I literally had people that I just met when I was there last week, drive me everywhere, show me the city, this is how we do. I was actually invited to their private kind of gathering. They kind of gather, they talk people, gather to, they have one and they talk about their business and what they need and where the group is going, what they're doing. So I was invited to that. Like as soon as I was there, I was new, and they feel like friends to me already. Like people just drove me around the city, took me to the beach and see and stuff. So I don't think it's gonna be a problem. I think it's more, I think where I see myself having a little bit of problems learning again the values of the homes and the market and and the areas. I think that's the only thing, because other than that, I will find a way. I will find a way. I'll find someone that helps me find a way. But I don't see it being a problem.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to suggest we have an opportunity to network with Elizabeth with any questions or any experiences. I think you're a fantastic example of the fact that when you put your mind to, because you obviously had things stacked against you, you haven't allowed any of those, number one, to bother you. You don't care if you had to sleep in a car again. You'd do it if you need to, even though I don't think you'd be nearly as happy as the place you have up in Bountiful. Speaking of women-owned businesses, we're going to have an opportunity to have Linda McMahon, Stacy, as well as Donna Savano. Linda McMahon is one of the partners of WWE. She's married to Vince McMahon. It's called Women. We're going to have them here on the 15th for an event at night, and then someone here is going to help you with the PR for this as it comes forward. And we're also going to have a dolphin shark tank course. We're going to have a dolphin tank. If you've ever heard of Kevin Harrington, the founder of Shark Tank, he's going to be running this. This will be on like Saturday, the 16th of October. So we're going to start with some of the events. We'll be qualifying for that here. Also, if you're familiar with the event called Startfest, it started here at Start SLC. We are going to start doing qualifying for, which is going to be occurring around the same time as Sundance, here at what we call Access Salt Lake in about 2.5 months in October. As an opportunity for a raise or an idea that wants to be able to pitch in front of those VCs, start thinking about that. Next event, which is with, isn't it Goldman Sachs on the 20th, 10,000 businesses. Do you want to say anything about Lean Startup Circle? You've got some events coming up as well.
That's great for actually doing the Lean Canvas. So it's kind of a bigger idea that it's experimental. We'll do a couple more events like it.
Fantastic. We're going to be introducing some different co-op spaces. So like if somebody wanted to be able to come in, spend time with you and learn how to do part-time meeting or anything else, the new things that we'll be doing. We're going to be carrying on everything that Dan and John have done here with the holodeck, but I encourage you guys to stick around, wander around. We're going to be releasing our pricing this week, what we have going on, and I think all of you will be very pleased with that. And for those of you that may want to actually get one of our desks here too, we're going to subsidize part of your parking, because that's been a part of a little bit of the complaint. So that'll be coming up. My name's Joel. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. But let's get this whippersnapper a big hand. The first time she was here, I was amazed at the tenacity that she's shown. You've since you were here last, you've acquired a number of other properties.
Yeah.
So she's not making this up. And if any of you want to get into that line of work, I think there's a brother, cousin Warren guy that can have a pretty good conversation with you, because he's been in the real estate business for about 100 years or so. You probably know each other. But I've obviously spoken up. Thank you. Please mix and mingle.
Let's go here.